Hey friends, I poured myself a glass of wine tonight because we're gonna get a little bit ranty and I'm gonna put makeup on my face. Hi, hello, hi. So for today's video, I've had a handful of people ask me my thoughts about what's been going on with Sephora, and there were a couple other companies that I wanted to talk about. So today's video might inadvertently be like the part 2 of like my video where I'm like, corporations aren't people, and also corporations don't give a shit about you. So let's get started, shall we? I'm gonna be using the Smokey Glow palette again today because I want to. And I want to use the neutrals today. I'll probably go with some Cold Brew, some Vote, some Half Pony, and then a little bit of a RANT, because it's a rant. That's what we're doing today. Here we go. If y'all aren't privy to what's been going on, Sephora, everybody's favorite company that gives you the worst rewards possible, has fired and laid off approximately a third of their employees. They did this via a conference call a little over a week ago. I will leave a link to some sources below in the description because I want to make sure that y'all are getting all the correct information, because I will admit I was one of those people that saw the initial tweets from folks being like, holy shit, Sephora fired all their part-time employees, what the fuck? So it wasn't all the part-time employees, let's get this straight. It was a portion of them. And it was via a conference call where they weren't really given any time to like ask questions. They weren't really like given a chance to get some clarification on some stuff. I washed all my brushes also last weekend. Holy shit, I washed all of them. And I brought out my Real Techniques, I don't know which brush this is, sculpting brush. I use this for foundation. Sephora laid off a bunch of their employees. And a bunch of those employees were tweeting about it, and they were talking about what happened. They were tweeting about the conference call, and that they were essentially read a script by the folks that were laying them off, and then they hung up, which at any company, in any situation, is cold and unfair and kind of inhumane in a way to let go of that number of people all at once without really any sort of like explanation, without any sort of like warning. And the biggest problem with what's been going on, because I saw a lot of people saying that, oh, well, Sephora, they laid these people off so that they can collect unemployment, because a lot of the people who were being laid off were part-timers. And some people were saying that they'd be able to get more money via unemployment than they would be getting on a weekly basis from Sephora. Now, a lot of these people who were part-timers were not working like 15 to 20 hours a week. They were working almost full-time. These were people that were working 30 to 35 hours usually. I worked retail for several years, and that's kind of how like my main thing at Lush worked. I worked very few hours at Hot Topic when I did work there, but a lot of the folks at Lush and a lot of the folks in most retail situations, they're not working full-time jobs. They're working technically part-time, but it's almost full-time. It's a living wage. These people were let go in the middle of a pandemic with kind of a lot of uncertainty and just a lot of instability now. People might say, Abby, there's a lot of companies that have been doing this. A lot of companies are having to do this to save the company. I totally get that. Like, I totally get that. Lush is having to do that. A lot of companies are having to furlough folks. REI actually just announced that they'd be furloughing a bunch of their employees for 3 months, but for those 3 months, people would still be getting the benefits, the healthcare insurance that REI gives out. REI is like seriously one of the best companies to work for as far as corporations go. Highly, highly recommend. I've never worked for them, but I have friends that have worked for them, and from what I've heard, REI takes care of their employees. A lot of companies have been doing this to save the company. Like, we've seen some companies who have had to file for bankruptcy so that they can actually still manage to stay a company. And I know that there's like a lot of companies that are going to end up having to just like make cuts to close businesses, to close locations. Like, I'm well aware that that is what is going to be happening. Like, even locally, like Seattle's like biggest restaurateur, Tom Douglas, shuttered 12 of his 13 restaurants, and he made a statement last week basically saying that they're broke and that taking care of their employees, like their employees are coming first, but he's pretty sure that they're not going to be able to come back from this in the same way that they were before. I'm well aware that a lot of companies are going to be doing that. However, the situation at hand with Sephora, let me blend this in. The situation at hand with Sephora, which I think is why a lot of people are getting upset, and rightfully so, with Sephora, before this happened, Sephora had put out a statement, just like many other companies, many other corporations. I'm sure we all got emails in our inbox of like, this is what we're doing in light of COVID-19, like shipping is going to be slower, blah, blah, blah. Like, I really didn't care what all of these companies that I keep getting newsletters from, I don't care what they're doing. I really don't care. If they're doing enough, they shouldn't have to email their people. Anyway, most of those emails are just like PR kind of messages to maintain some level of like decorum. But what Sephora did was they sent out an email to customers, to employees, basically saying that they were going to be taking care of their employees and that they were going to be taking care of their families and that they had their backs and they were going to make sure that they were taken care of. And I can imagine being an employee at Sephora, seeing that email gave you a sense of relief, gave them a sense of like, okay, I'm going to be okay. Holy shit, I don't have to like worry and like immediately try and find another job or like just figure everything out. Like seeing that statement had a sense of comfort. And for Sephora to then completely go back on that and let go of so many of their employees, the people that keep their business afloat, without any sort of warning and without any sort of like, hey, this is what's happening. It's just, here's a script we're reading from. You're all laid off. It's fucking bullshit. Oh my God. I feel so bad for everybody working for Sephora. My heart went out to everybody who works for Sephora and everybody who got laid off. And like, my heart goes out to everybody who's getting laid off right now. Like, I feel for everyone. I've not been laid off. My boss does not want to lay us off if he can help it, because we're still going to be able to do work from home, but we just don't have the sick time and the vacation time to make up for all of it. So I'm pretty much right now going without much pay at all, but with the stability of still having a job and still having my health insurance. It's scary. It's a scary time. And for Sephora to do that, completely pull a 180 on their employees is mind-blowing, because for a company that makes that much money, I don't have the full numbers in front of me, but Tara Brooke did a really good analysis of kind of like their total worth as a company. And for them to essentially put out this bullshit PR statement and then just go against it completely is gross. It's gross. From some of the folks who were kind of playing the devil's advocate or explaining maybe why they would have done it, and they're like, oh, well, they're letting people go so they can get unemployment benefits, which, like, yeah, okay. However, keeping somebody on payroll, whether or not they could give them their full pay for the entire time, I feel like having that stability of being able to know that you have a job to go back to is just all that much more comforting in a situation like this, where if you're like furloughed and you're like with REI, for instance, they're furloughing a bunch of employees for 3 months right now, for 90 days, so that they can save the company, so they can save everything. The CEO is not taking any pay for 6 months. People up at the top are taking cuts to their pay right now, and they're doing what they need to do. Companies like Microsoft are paying all of the salary of people who work for Microsoft, like regardless of what they do, like people who work in the facilities, who make sure the buildings are like still functioning, and like people who work in the cafes and in the restaurants on the Microsoft campus, those people are still being paid their hourly wages, even though Microsoft campuses are closed. And so there's a lot of companies who are doing varying levels of things. And for Sephora, they're still doing their VIB sale, which I will not be buying anything from, because right now, currently, my foundation is out of stock. CoverFX isn't being sold at Sephora anymore, and the reward system sucks. I can go get Fenty from the Fenty website. I implore people to use this opportunity to go patronize just the websites of the brands themselves if they do want to buy things, if they do still need to re-up on stuff. Like, I will need to buy foundation at some point. Right now I don't, and right now I'm not buying anything else, there will be an anti-haul, don't worry. I'm kind of cutting ties with Sephora at this point, because this is bullshit. This is just showing everybody's true colors when it comes to corporations. Editing Abby here. One other thing I forgot to mention about the Sephora thing, one thing that I think is really important too, a lot of the people who did get laid off, they were posting about it on Twitter. They were talking about how Sephora essentially encouraged them to get their certification in cosmetology and go to school and get training and actually like pay to go to school and pay to get that certification, and that they were going to be essentially reimbursed by Sephora. So you had a lot of these people who paid to go to school, paid to get their cosmetology certification, and then they were laid off, and they're like, well, what am I going to do with this now? Like, is Sephora going to pay me back for all I spent on this? So that's one thing that a lot of people are pissed off about, and rightfully so, because for a company to, I don't know if they required them, but for a company to push somebody into getting a certification, into getting training for that job, and to then lay them off without paying them back for that training, pretty shitty. It's pretty shitty. Like, it's really shitty. That was one thing that I forgot to mention when I was filming last night, but I wanted to mention it because I think it's important. So, back to the video. Let me do my eye makeup now. I've been talking for too long. How long did Abby talk with nothing on her face? Okay. At least my skin looks good. Cool. I've seen all kinds of foolishness from companies. Pretty much the only companies that I've seen really taking care of their employees like to the fullest extent that should be expected from pretty much any corporation, especially a corporation that is in the billions of dollars in worth. Microsoft. Way to set an example, Seattle. Holy shit. Like, speaking of other companies, local, that are being generally shitty. Now it's time for our weekly reminder that Jeff Bezos is a terrible person. Heyo. I'm not even wearing my Bezos guillotine earrings. If anybody wants to know where I got my Bezos guillotine earrings, I'm not wearing them right now, but if you go to my Twitter account, the person who I ordered them from got their Etsy account actually suspended for violence, for like violent content, which is BS. Now they're doing like direct sales, and I contacted them via Twitter. So if you go to my Twitter page and you see the top, my pinned tweet, the link to that person's account is in there, and you can check them out. But Amazon, need another sip. Tea spill. Nah, wine spill. No, not wine spill. Even though I'm wearing black, I'm wearing my own merch. Libby and I went for a walk today. I'm taking every advantage of advertising my own merch. For a walk in an area that is not well traveled, in a neighborhood where nobody was out. Still doing that. Amazon, I'm using cold brew right now. Amazon, in case anybody didn't notice, Amazon employees went on strike again. Did a walkout again last week. And were we surprised? No. Are we surprised that Amazon isn't taking care of their employees? Absolutely not. I did hear at one point that Amazon was stopping receiving non-essential items into their warehouses so that they weren't getting, like, they weren't restocking in things that are non-essential. They were only restocking in things that were like food, medical, all stuff that are essential items. I cannot verify if that has actually happened or not, but that was a story that came out. And all at the same time, there's now been at least 2 employees at a Charlotte Amazon facility that have tested positive, and multiple employees at that facility specifically and elsewhere have said that Amazon is not doing their due diligence at protecting workers and at actually like taking the necessary safety precautions to protect people. And like I said, are we surprised? No. I'm not saying, I will say this right away rather than waiting until the end of the video. I'm not saying that if you are somebody who literally cannot leave your home and needs to use Amazon for essential things, say you are a medical professional and you need to get stuff that they don't have in stock or they don't have surplus of, or if you're a parent and you now have kids at home, staying home from school, obviously, and you need to use Amazon to order things because you cannot leave your house without taking your entire gaggle of children. Use it. Seriously. Amazon is a resource for people who need it. But even if you are using Amazon for essential items, if you are in a situation where you cannot leave and you need to use it, please be aware though. Please be aware of what the company is doing. And I implore everyone to use their voice to urge Amazon and local lawmakers, local politicians, government officials to actually hold them accountable and make them do better, because if the smallest companies in the country are doing better than Amazon as far as taking care of their employees, they're doing something very wrong. Like, I guess Bezos donated like $100 million or something, which like he makes every 11 hours. Anytime you see numbers of Jeff Bezos donating money, it's like a microscopic number as far as his entire worth. Seriously. Also, billionaire philanthropy is not going to do as much for the world as taxing them would do. Anyway, eat the rich. Editing Abby is back. I needed to mention one other thing about this whole Amazon protest walkout thing. This I feel like is very important to mention. There was a news story that came out about a memo this week. There was an Amazon executive that conspired to smear the warehouse employee who led the walkout, who led the protest. And in a memo, Amazon General Counsel David Zapolsky said Smalls was the guy who walked out, Chris Smalls, said Smalls was not smart or articulate, and to the extent the press wants to focus on us versus him, we will be in a much stronger PR position than simply explaining for the umpteenth time how we're trying to protect workers. They also plan to use him as the face of the entire union organizing movement and to make themselves look good for strategically donating stores of face masks. Amazon said they fired Smalls on Monday of last week because his demonstration violated a 14-day quarantine the company had imposed on him after he'd come in contact with a positive employee. Chris Smalls, the employee that was fired, he said he wasn't the only person who'd come in contact with that person and claims he was singled out after pleading with management to sanitize the warehouse and be more transparent about the number of workers who were sick. Zapolsky, the guy that wrote the memo, the executive, said he let his emotions draft my words and get the better of me. So are we surprised that executives at Amazon were trying to spin a story about the guy who led this movement against Amazon? No, because they're always trying to do that. They're always trying to constantly spin the fact that their working conditions are great. They put out a whole fucking PR piece saying that how much people love working at Amazon when the vast majority of people who work for Amazon do not live that life, do not live that reality. So I'll leave a link to a story below about this whole thing because it's really gross and really fucked up, and I applaud Bernie Sanders for using his voice to shit on Amazon for doing this. So thank you, Bernie Sanders, for continuing to be you. Back to the video. Seeing that Amazon is not actually taking care of their employees and not making sure that people are staying clean and not making sure that people are being made aware when people test positive, and they're just not doing what they should be doing. It's kind of gross, especially when they're profiting so much of what's happening right now. Grocery stores and Amazon are profiting from what's happening right now. We have to be aware of this. Grocery stores, grocery store employees need to be paid more right now. Absolutely. Essential workers, like, now they're counted as essential. They need to be paid what they're worth. They need to be paid more. So if you're working in a grocery store out there, props to you. You deserve all of the good things in the world. I wish you all the best. Holy shit. I'm using the color Vote right now, which apparently Wisconsin is doing today. Jesus. The Supreme Court basically was just like, no, Wisconsin can vote. It's like, excuse me? What? Huh? Forgot I had this Real Techniques brush in my collection, and oh my god, I forgot how much I loved it. I decluttered a handful of brushes and gave them to Libby, like a couple of Morphe brushes that I bought that suck. I had like 2 of this one Real Techniques blush brush that I didn't need, both of them, and I gave them to her. So she's been using them semi-correctly. God, these colors blend so well. Jiminy Christmas. Now I'm gonna take half pony and just put it in my outer corner. I don't know, speaking of Smoky Glow, I don't know if y'all saw Hannah's video the other day. She was talking about a brand, a company that reached out to her that wanted to do like a giveaway and like a coupon code for masks and hand sanitizers. They wanted to give her a give 20% off coupon that people could use, and then she would make 5% commission. And
oh my God.
Oh my God. What? It's mental. It's madness what brands are thinking they can get away with right now. Companies are going to profit off this. And I want people to be aware of that. I want people to be aware. I want people to be smart. I want people to just pay attention to what companies are doing and pay attention to what employees are saying about the companies that they work for. And remember this when we come out of this. Remember what the brands did and how they treated their employees. One other company I want to talk about. Not really a company that I fuck with in general anyway. Hobby Lobby, which, oh God, I'm taking the color RANT. This color is so pretty. Oh my God, so gorgeous. Hobby Lobby only recently finally shut their doors after they got a lot of backlash from local governments. And after there was plenty of stories coming out about the company staying open and about the batshit things they were saying about their company and about their employees, saying that God was going to protect them, that God was going to save them all. What? Oh God. And Gus Johnson actually made a great video today as I'm filming this, talking about some crazy fucking pastor, Kenneth Copeland, and I'm sure you've seen around. He's got insane eyes. He looks absolutely devilish. He looks like a demon. Like, the guy looks whacked out of his mind all the time. And he sounds like he's whacked out of his mind all the time. Like, he's one of those people that says that God is gonna save you from the Rona. And I'm like, what the fuck? And Hobby Lobby is the same kind of people. I mean, I haven't patronized Hobby Lobby ever in my life. And once I heard that they were like very, very homophobic and just generally bigoted, sexist, all of the bad things that a company could be, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna really go there. We got Michaels and Joanne Fabrics. I'd rather go there. I'm gonna do a winged liner today because I haven't done one of those in a while. I've seen a handful of things kind of dealing with church services and dealing with religious responses to this. Like, I guess Florida's governor and multiple governors have like exempt religious gatherings from the the stay at home. They're saying no big groups of people can gather except if it's a church. And I'm just like,
what?
Huh? I saw that and I was like, well, if anything, either those churches should lose their tax-exempt status, or the people who run the church and are still demanding that people come into church services should be put in prison for criminal negligence. Or both. All right, let's see if I can do this winged liner. Well, I'm gonna keep my eyes closed, let this dry. All right, well, that's a look. But anyway, y'all should watch that video that Gus Johnson put out today because it's very good and it's refreshing to see him get mad, you know? I mean, not that I want Gus to be mad, but I like his desk videos. I like when he gets serious because I like the goofs and the gaffes and the memes and the jokes and stuff, but I think Gus is really smart and I like when he does that because I can imagine his audience is not subscribing for like political content, obviously. So using his format of like the desk videos when he's usually like goofing on like stupid YouTubers, he's using that time to talk about like actually dangerous like rhetoric that's being put out into the world, and that made me very happy. So thank you, Gus, for just being a voice and using it. So now that my face is done, maybe I'm gonna do some bronzer because I want to. Because I want to actually use the, was it Yas? The Yas highlight? Yas. Yes, the kind of goldy highlight. My sister was using it the other day and she was like, it's called Yes. She wasn't calling it Yas because there's only one A, but there's lots of S's. So things that my sister says, it's always funny. So I'm using my Fenty bronzer in the Sun. It's kind of bronzing most of my face. A little bit. And then I will take a little bit of blush, and I'm actually going to use this one from my Lunatick palette. Just a little bit to put it across my face. Just to warm it up a little bit. Because I like the In the Sun bronzer, but I do like adding a little more red into the middle of my face, a little more pink, because that's how my face would naturally bronze. Like, I don't bronze, I burn. So I'm just adding a little bit of a sunburnt glow across my face, you know? When I was washing all my brushes, I found this one, which is like a really old Sonia Kashuk brush that came in like a set. And I like it because it's got this cool snake design, but like there's a lot of the brushes in there where I'm like, what am I going to use this for? Like, I don't know. Ooh, yay. So I guess this one works really well as like a kind of lighter hand. Not super like, ooh, okay. That's very bright. All right. Maybe this isn't nearly as like subtle as I thought it was. I'm kind of gonna put it not all over, but just run it elsewhere so it melts everything together, because it still is a little bit dark for my skin. So if I put it kind of everywhere a little bit and blend it out, I think it'll look more natural. Ooh, that's a fun highlight. Hannah, you did that? I was gonna do black lips. Do I want to still do black lips? Fuck it, I'm gonna do black lips. Because I was feeling ranty. I put lip balm a little while ago. Well, I'm gonna put mascara on first. So what was the moral of this video? Really? Please pay attention to what companies are doing as much as you can. Obviously, right now there's a lot going on and we have to take care of ourselves first, but I don't know, just check on to see what companies are doing lately to take care of their employees. And if they're doing things that are fucked up, remember, for when it matters, for when it counts, remember later on, and just use your voice and use your dollar and vote with it, you know? And for Sephora to do this and think it was not gonna pop back in their face is kind of fucked. Like, it's just gross. Sephora is set to make a lot of money in the next couple of weeks because they have their VIB sale. And for them to go through with that while laying off a good portion of their part-time employees, so that means that the people who are doing fulfillment are probably gonna have to do more right now. People who are working fulfillment, oh my god. People who are working customer service and online fulfillment are going to be working their asses off, because they already are.
Lipstick. Here we go, Abby. Haven't done this in a while.
First, put on my glasses. I told y'all I was going to do a neutral look with this palette, and here we are. I'm using my Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit. Sue me. All right, let's see if this dries. I haven't worn liquid lipstick in a while, so it feels kind of weird, so bear with me. What was the moral to this video? Really, the moral was that Sephora, you suck right now. Just for all of you guys watching out there, you know my thing is being a smart consumer and holding companies accountable and holding corporations accountable. So while I don't think you necessarily need to all just stop buying from these things all at once, obviously, because like everybody's lives are different. Just like listen to the people who are being affected, listen to the employees. Please be kind to customer service right now. Please be kind to the people working online fulfillment. Please be patient. Also, the Smokey Glow palette's really nice. It's really good. It's really good. Also, this shade, a RANT. Oh, it's beautiful. The shimmers in here are gorgeous. Yeah. This video had kind of a scatterbrained feel to it, but I just needed to like rant about companies being stupid right now because there's a lot of companies being very stupid and not taking care of their people. I will leave links to articles in the description because I want people to be as informed as they can, because coming from Seattle and being in Washington State, we're hearing about it all the time. I realize I didn't go too in depth about it in this video, but Seattle's doing okay. Our numbers are not nearly as growing as quickly as they were for a while, and they're not nearly growing as quickly as other places. My heart breaks for people in New York City. In New York City specifically, because I can imagine how terrifying it is just being stuck in like a small Manhattan apartment or a Brooklyn apartment, just like being stuck, because everybody is like literally right next to each other in New York. And Seattle, we're used to not being next to each other. And like, it's pretty populated, but like there's still a lot of trees and people don't talk to each other. And there's a thing called the Seattle freeze where literally people don't talk to each other. So like it's kind of working in our favor at this point. So while Seattle was pretty much the first place to see some cases, and Washington was the first place to have a confirmed case, we're now at like 10th in total cases because we implemented social distancing as quickly as we could. And schools are closed for the rest of the year. There is a stay-at-home order pretty much until May 4th at least. It's working. Like it's like our curve is not as exponential. It is a flattening curve. Jay Inslee is being way more presidential than the fascist in chief that's currently holding the title. And I've never been more relieved to be a Washingtonian than right now because of our governor and because of how Washington is in general. So everybody who is here, specifically in Washington, please keep the other states in your thoughts. Please spread the information to everyone else in other states, because I feel like there's still a lot of places in the states that are not nearly getting the kind of information that they need to be getting. Places like Georgia, where Brian Kemp literally didn't even know that like asymptomatic people could spread it. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he's so dumb. Like, they could have had Stacey Abrams, but they got
Brain Kemp.
So I feel for places don't have leadership that's being informed, and they don't have leadership that actually gives a shit. And I'm so thankful to have our governor, and for companies like Microsoft and for REI for setting the standard for what companies need to do. And I wish Amazon would do the same, but they're not. So, but am I surprised? No, not surprised at all. There will be lots of links in the description below. Check out Hannah's video that she made about the company that wanted to offer her subscribers a discount on masks. Today's song of the day, let's see. I've been doing this,
Oh.
Sorry, I just opened up my Instagram page, and Curtis Connor just posted a picture wearing makeup and without a shirt on, and I'm just like, oh boy, Anyway, I got distracted. Today's song of the day, I've been doing this thing on Instagram where I am doing a 30-day song challenge. It's the dorkiest thing in the world, but I like it. It gives me something to post every day. But the song that I posted on the 3rd day of the challenge, the song that reminds me of summertime, song of the day is Get Up by Young Fathers. And the lyrics are, come here and do the right thing, get up and have a party. And it reminds me of summertime because I saw them, I think during the summertime when I did. It reminds me of a time when I had a debaucherous summer and it was just messy, and it was a good time. It was a good time. But yeah, keep up with my like song challenge. It's fun. If you just search like song challenge on Instagram, you can find the template and you're just like post a different song every day, and it's kind of fun. Kind of makes you just think of stuff. Again, check the description for all the links that I talked about, all the stories, all the things about the companies and people doing dumb shit. This is a big old rant, big old vlog of just like companies being stupid and people being stupid and not taking care of their people, whether it's their congregation or their employees or what have you. Please be smart. Please be safe. Wash your hands. Stay home. Libby and I have been grocery shopping once a week, and that's it. Stay informed as much as you can, whatever is good for your mental health. I wish you well, grocery store workers out there, medical workers out there, people on the front lines. Thank you for being humans that are keeping us all from killing each other. Thank you for doing your job, honestly. Like, just thank you for doing your job. Yeah, that was today. Give this video a like if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of my videos. Thanks so much to my patrons. As always, I appreciate you. Okay, I will see you guys all on Thursday. Bye.